I prefer to walk and be with my brother Archons and hierarchs. Allow me a personal privilege to recognize our unbelievable team, Helen Bazanelis, Judge Bazanelis, the Vice Commander, my beloved wife and co-partner for almost 50 years, Professor Deli Kostandis, the right-hand person of His All Holiness, John Katsamatidis, who came from New York on his plane to show support for this entire Religious Freedom Conference, and Archon Chronis, well-regarded and beloved, Aphrodite Skiatis, past president of Philoptochos, Peter Skiatis, our treasurer, Gail Publikis, Cosma Publikis, outstanding national secretary. Stand up, Savas. Savas is the supreme president of AHEPA. We're so grateful that you're here, sir. Thank you. And the representative of Prime Minister Mitsotakis, thank you. Maritza, and our Sergeant at Arms, Alex Pritsos. We're very grateful. I could go through the whole group of you, and I applaud you all. Well, let me back up. I jumped the gun. So what we want to do today is discuss these three topics: the historic role of the Archon from ancient to contemporary times, to discuss a watershed event in informing the world of the plight of the Ecumenical Patriarchate, which took place on a program, the most trusted and popular news program in the United States since 1968, 60 Minutes program, that interviewed His All Holiness Ecumenical Patriarch Bartholomew, and that was an Archon project. Third, we want to discuss the initiatives that the Archons in America have done, and perhaps our brothers and sisters, and I say sisters because someday I do hope we'll have female Archons. Applause, please. Thank you. To serve as a model for some of the local Archons, Canada, Australia, France, Germany. The role of the Archon. This is our structure today. In America, Pamakaristos, Greece and Europe, Canada, Archons of St. Paul, and Australia, which is the smallest group, but hopefully it will grow over time. Our role as Archons, like no other organization in the church, is singular and focused. It's simple. We support and defend the Ecumenical Patriarchate, and that requires exemplary Archon stewardship vis-a-vis the Mother Church. It's been said that the Archons are the elite. With that status, noblesse oblige, the French termed it noblesse oblige, with nobility comes extraordinary responsibility and obligation. Obligation. Gregory, you agree? Time, talent, and treasure. Time, talent, not or treasure, but and treasure. All three components is required to do what is right. Archon stewardship of time, talent, and treasure. These Archon badges, by the way, are available for a small donation to cover our costs. And Elias, please stand up. Leah's in the corner. Leah's an outstanding assistant at the Archon office. We're very grateful to Leah. And she does exceptional work, and she's managing this for us. What do? We are fighting for religious freedom. And we developed in the United States a multifaceted domestic and international program that we would ask you to consider developing in your own municipalities. Monaco, for example, we had the great opportunity, my good friend from Monaco, to develop these domestic and international programs. When Archons from France go to Brussels to meet with European Union administrators and officials, that would have great impact because France is an EU member. Now, I know after speaking with Archbishop Nikitas, there was that Brexit stuff, but still, the UK Archons have great potential in influencing government action, especially in the UK. It is a solemn honor and awesome responsibility. A little history, Archon means leader. Goes back to the 11th century. Can you imagine? This is not a new thing. This is not a Byzantine thing. It goes back to ancient Greece. In the 6th and 5th centuries, Solon, who developed the concept of democracy, Themistocles, Pericles, these were all Archons. And that title of Archon, leader, has been carried forward through the centuries, through Christ, Constantinople in 333, when the Roman Empire capital went to Byzantium, later named Constantinople after Constantine the Great, an Archon. This is our spiritual heritage. This is the legacy, beloved John. That's okay, folks. So we were going to show pictures of Archons, more modern Archons. And I could mention many Spiroskouros. Help me out, Father. Nikos Gouranis. Andy Athens, thank you. Alex G. Spanos. So we have modern Archons in the tradition of the classical Archons of ancient Greece. So in terms of the formal organizations of the Archons, I never realized until a number of years ago that the Archons in the United States are the most senior, established in 1966 by Archbishop Iakovos when he selected 32 individuals, leading Orthodox Christians, to receive the officium from the Ecumenical Patriarch Athenagoras at the time. And then at the election of His All Holiness Ecumenical Patriarch Bartholomew, the Pamakaristos Archons were established. Bartholomew established the Pamakaristos Archons. And now, several years ago, in 2016, there were Archons in Canada, but they were under Pamakaristos. And then when the church was reorganized somewhat, Archbishop Sotirios was given the responsibility of establishing Archons in Canada, and they established the Order of St. Andrew, St. Paul. So who are we? The Archons of the Ecumenical Patriarchate is a devoted group of passionate leaders relentlessly focused on protecting religious freedom for everyone and ensuring the future of the Ecumenical Patriarchate, the historical spiritual center of the world's 300 million Orthodox Christians. Since 2002, and we have financial statements to substantiate this, the Archons in the United States have directly and indirectly contributed over $60 million to support the needs of the Mother Church. Over $60 million to support the needs of the Mother Church. Denise, you can clap a little bit louder, thanks. Denise and Paul Skoutelis from Washington, D.C., but their roots are in Philadelphia, where I've known them for 40, 50 years. Great to have you here. The 60 Minutes interview, you must understand this. It's the most viewed and respected news program in the United States.
Do you feel personally, Your Holiness, that you are being crucified sometimes?
Yes, I do.
Do you feel crucified in your own country? Yes, I do. That statement really summarizes the relationship of the government of the Republic of Turkey to His All Holiness. Persecuted in his own country, a man who served in the military, did his duty, and yet he's a second-class citizen in his own country. This was an extraordinary event. And this airs on Sunday night, the most popular, highest rated show on TV, Sunday night, and they give a video clip on Thursday before the Sunday. So on the Thursday before this took place, the clip showed that His All Holiness felt crucified. Boris and Juliana, great to be with you, I have to tell you. Great to be with you. His All Holiness said he felt crucified. The government of Turkey went ballistic. They called CBS. They were going to pull all advertisement. They demanded that the show be withdrawn. But, you know, but CBS said, no, you're not going to tell us what to put on TV. And you know, when you go to CBS 60 Minutes, it's a double-edged sword. When we went there, and I took a shopping bag full of documents about religious freedom violations, about the hundreds, names and addresses of the hundreds of properties they confiscated. We gave them to CBS News, and we gave them to the United States Congress. But you never know with CBS. They can do a program, and then they may criticize you. They may do anything. And we had no idea until it was aired. We had no clue until it was aired. And when it was aired, it was monumental. And not only that, it led to 7 other Orthodox 60-minute programs. Led to the Christians of the Holy Land, the monks of Mount Athos. Who's from Mount Athos here? Archimandrite Bartholomew from Mount Athos. There were 2 episodes of 60 Minutes about Mount Athos. And then the persecution of Copts in Egypt. And then 2 outstanding programs on St. Nicholas. Yes, indeed. But it just doesn't end with the 5 issues of concern: lack of legal personality, confiscation of property, interference in elections of the hierarchs and ecumenical patriarch. And the last of the 5th issues, the lack of the term ecumenical. You know, that's sort of plus minus as a critical issue. But this is what they did a few years ago in July. This is what the government did. Hagia Sophia, a cultural center, a heritage site. Can you bring that sound up, please? This is what's going on in Hagia Sophia today. Bring the sound up, please.
سيدنا وسندنا ومولانا.
I think I've had enough. Thank you. This is what's going on at Hagia Sophia today. And Erdogan is the person who has been pushing this religious memoricide in the center there. Hagia Sophia, a neutral museum for 80 years, a neutral museum, 100 years, and now in a provocative action. He converted it to an active mosque. And not only that, look what he did here. Here's the platitera. Now, then. This is today's platitera. Imonitis Chora, another church that just became from a museum to a mosque, and now this last month, May, an active mosque. The priceless, extraordinary frescoes. You can see on the left the before, and you can see on the right the after. Erdogan, Turkey, religious oppression, memoricide. This is a NATO country that buys Russian communist missiles, right? Turkey. Sir Stephen Runciman, Archons should read this, should be required reading, The Great Church in Captivity. And he goes over the ecumenical patriarchs and their fate. 21 died of natural causes, 105 driven away by the Turks, 27, and 6 died violent deaths. 6 died violent deaths. And every April 22nd, on April 22nd, Gregory V was hanged at this gate the Saturday before Easter. The Saturday before Easter. On every April 10th, His Royal Holiness lights a candle, right, Father Atios? Lights a candle at the gate that has been welded shut in memory of our fallen ecumenical patriarch. Stephen Anna Limberakis, I thought I saw you here. There you are. Doctors Anna and Stephen Limberakis donated a lot of money to resurrect and renovate this Transfiguration Monastery on Chalki Island. Shortly after it was completed, official agents of the Ministry of Forestry did this to the church. They ransacked it, they destroyed it, but the Limberakis donated again to restore it again. So let's applaud Dr. Stephen, who, by the way, is a head and neck surgeon who has both MD and DDS degrees. That's big-time academic work. So I salute you, Dr. Stephen, a brother doctor. And when he comes on our national council meetings by Zoom, he comes with his surgical scrubs coming out of the OR. And really, you take the time to be with us every time, doctor, and we're very grateful. Turkey must restore religious human rights to the ecumenical patriarchate. It's simple. In America, and again, these are examples that you please take home. Do this in your own countries. We've worked with the United States Commission on International Religious Freedom, Congress. Each one of you has a parliament. Each one of you has a governance structure, and our Department of State. We heard from Mike Pompeo, the 70th Secretary of State, the first Secretary of State being Thomas Jefferson, George Washington's Secretary of State, third President of the United States, Thomas Jefferson. Mike Pompeo, doesn't he? He looks great now, doesn't he? He looked good there, but he looks even better now, I have to tell you. He had over 1,000 ministers from around the world on what subject? Religious freedom. And His Eminence, Archbishop Elpidophoros, Your Eminence, we salute you for making a presentation on the Chalki Seminary at that conference. And when we had that conference, the Archons hosted what we call a sidebar, in which we invited members of Congress, the Senate, the House, featuring Nancy Pelosi, Speaker of the House, to discuss religious freedom, the importance of religious freedom, not in general, but specifically regarding the ecumenical patriarchate. Of course, His Eminence being with the President, Donald Trump, and you should also realize that Alex Azar was the Secretary of Health and Human Services. He is an Archon, he is an Orthodox Christian, and he was the one responsible for Operation Warp Speed to establish the vaccines that were established to save us from COVID. His President-elect Joe Biden in 2011, and then he received the Athenagoras Human Rights Award, a longtime friend of the Ecumenical Patriarch. And President Biden considers the Ecumenical Patriarch one of two people who are the most Christ-like he has ever met in his life. His All Holiness, in this most recent trip on 2021 with Nancy Pelosi at the Oval Office, we rely on the U.S. Commission on International Religious Freedom. This is a commission that reports to the White House and to Congress, and every year they point out the most egregious violators of religious freedom. And every year, guess what country shows up? Turkey. Turkey shows up every year on a list of egregious religious freedom violators. So this is not discrimination. This is not Turkey bashing. This is the reality, and we have to call them out. We don't just smile and accept. We call them out. And every chance the Archons get, and they ask you to do in your own provinces in Canada, in your own local municipalities, the mayors, states, do the same. We did this in all 50 states in the United States. We asked the 50 state legislatures to pass religious freedom resolutions, not just in general, but focused on the ecumenical patriarchate. And if you think it's easy to go to a state like North or South Dakota that has very few Orthodox Christians and get their legislature to pass, we're still waiting for New Hampshire, Costa. Okay. I'm talking to a Boston regional commander. We still don't have New Hampshire for some reason. This is our group today. All these resolutions, 58 resolutions, representing 93% of the country, know about religious freedom deficit in Turkey. Efforts in Europe. We've been to the U.S. Embassy in Ankara multiple times. We visit the EU rotating presidency, the OSCE, in which we make an annual presentation, the European Court of Human Rights. I have to tell you this was 2008 in Strasbourg, and just before that, in preparation for that meeting, can you recognize some of the people in that meeting? Can you recognize some of the people? Do I have a pointer here or not? Do I have a pointer? No pointer. Okay. So I'll go over it. This person here is John Zavitsanos, great lawyer. This person here is Deacon Elpidophoros. This person here, behind him is John Halecki of blessed memory, Archon. Jay Sekulow, who was the president's lawyer for many years. Metropolitan Meliton, my wife, Presbyteric Santi, of course, is All Holiness. I think you may have been a Region at the time, not sure. Myself, Father Alex, George Rackus, and another secular lawyer. And he allowed us, we met in Geneva, because we can't meet in Turkey and talk freely. We can't meet in the office of His All Holiness and talk freely. Because there are loudspeakers, right next to his window, every few hours, the call to prayer. I mean, everyone is entitled to that. But to put it right in the office, directing the loudspeaker so you can't even hear each other, I mean, What a provocation. And then we would visit the rotating presidencies of the European Union. Here is Eleni Tsakopoulos Kounalakis, the current lieutenant governor of California. What do you think of that? The current lieutenant governor of the state of California, and she was very instrumental in getting us access to the next Athenagoras Human Rights Award recipient, the widow of modern Russian opposition leader Yulia Navalny. And here we are in Vienna when they had the EU presidency with His Eminence Metropolitan Emmanuel and the leadership. This is a number of years ago, meeting with the Mufti, the top Muslim cleric in Turkey. So you see these dates. We've been at this a long, long time. There's Laki Vingas. Laki, are you here? Why don't you stand up? Laki has been a son of the Ecumenical Patriarchate a long time, and we're very grateful, Laki, that you came. Thank you very much. Oh, this is a great story. So in 2011, I think, John, did you arrange this? Father Alex arranged a meeting with Erdogan. And so I got a call, and I closed my office. And to make it to this meeting, he always stays Erdogan stays at the Peninsula Hotel. It was all blocked off. I finally got there 2 minutes before the meeting started. And you see that book? That book was given to me on August 31st, 1998. The first Archon pilgrimage to the Fanar. We had over 150 people at that pilgrimage. And I met with His All Holiness. I mean, I could barely speak with him. I was so intimidated. And I asked his advice. I said, we plan to visit the mayor of Istanbul, this gentleman named Erdogan. Do you have any advice? And he said, just be courteous. Just tell him you're here from America to pay your respects to the Mother Church. We didn't ask for anything. We didn't talk about religious freedom violation. We were just courteous and respectful, and that's how we started the relationship. And then, that was 1998, and then he inscribed it again. That's Erdogan's business card. Over here, you see it? Mayor of Greater Istanbul Municipality, 1998, and then in 2011, a few years later, he signed it again. And these were historic meetings of a sitting vice president to the Ecumenical Patriarchate. That's why President Biden and His All Holiness are so close. That was an extraordinary meeting. We were invited by Dr. Sekulow at Oxford University. Marcus Market, are you here? Marcus, stand up, Marcus. Marcus is a Philhellene. You know, he lost his father, and a very successful attorney in Germany who loved Greece, who spoke Greek, who had property in Greece, in Crete. And Marcus was present at that Oxford University. Why was he present? Because he received a DPhil, a doctorate from Oxford University. And with his colleague next to you, stand up, Faisal, also very interested in Orthodoxy and Byzantine, and they both came, they both registered, paid the full $1,000 fee. Thank you for that. And Marcus just started out, so he's not a rich man. He's a young guy, but we appreciate your presence. He's made it at his own expense, several trips to the Ecumenical Patriarchate. Here we are. Jay Sekulow organized this. Jordan Sekulow, his beloved son. James Rockus is here, who is with the Sekulow team. The Archons were strong supporters of the Holy and Great Council. We laid the optics, the computer connections. We've done a number of religious freedom missions. Our most recent was to countries bordering and nearby Ukraine, where we went to Romania. and where we met with Dr. Naaf Salamet, president of the Alexandrian group. Naaf, are you here? But Nick Cass is here. Stand up, Nick. Part of the Naaf Alexandrian group. A great supporter. And by the way, the wines and all the various liquors, if you look at the bottles of wine, Naaf has distilleries around the world. He's a physician, but he said, well, you know, the money isn't being a doctor. The money is in business. So he's a great businessman, and he has distilleries around the world. And he donated all the wines and other wonderful drinks. And he arranged meetings with the Prime Ministry in Romania. Then from Romania, we went to Bulgaria. And I tell you, can I say anything about Bulgaria? Whatever I want to say. Boris and Juliana, stand up. This dynamic couple personally know the Prime Minister of their country, Bulgaria, and the head of the parliament. So the legislative and the executive branches, and they arranged personal meetings of the Archon leadership with the Prime Minister. Is Boris Jr. here? No, that's okay. He's a volunteer, and he spent he came early and done all this volunteer work, and we didn't even pay him. So they're a dynamic team. This is with the minister of the prime minister of Bulgaria. Where is Metropolitan Athenagoras? I saw you. Metropolitan Athenagoras, I thank you for spending so much time with us on that trip in which you represented the Ecumenical Patriarchate, and we visited the Patriarchate, and we always visit the ambassador of Greece. Wherever he is, wherever country, we always go to the ambassador of Greece, and sometimes we go to the ambassador of Turkey, and we say what we need to say. No holds punched, no holds barred. And this is an important image. You know, the Moscow Patriarchate has had the Warsaw country, Orthodox Christian countries, under their thumb for a long time. Bulgaria has always been associated with Moscow. Now, the government of Bulgaria is no longer associated and under the thumb of Putin and the communist Russia. They are Western-oriented. Right, Elizabeth? My beloved daughter and son-in-law, please, I'm so proud they're here. Please stand up. We're very proud that you're here. They're newlyweds. They just got married a year ago. So this is sort of like their honeymoon. Now that I've embarrassed them, I'll continue. Well, a sort of honeymoon. Well, they're leaving tomorrow. They start their honeymoon. We'll put it that way. Tomorrow they start the honeymoon. So this was the first time the Bulgarian Patriarch received a delegation representing the Ecumenical Patriarchate. Never happened before. The Archons of America went to Bulgaria. Juliana and Boris arranged these meetings in the presence of Metropolitan Athenagoras of Belgium to break the ice. This was a huge icebreaker. And Father Alex, and I'm so glad we took this picture to document this meeting, showing respect to the church in Bulgaria. And now I understand that this past, Father Atios, can you explain what happened last Sunday?
Thank you. Actually, 2 Sundays ago, it was the Sunday of the mare-bearing women, and it's a tradition that His All Holiness goes and presides at the Patriarchal Liturgy with the Synod at the monastery of Baloukli. This year, we had not only metropolitans from our Synod, but also a prominent delegation from metropolitans and bishops from the Synod of the Church of Bulgaria, which currently is in a phase of electing their new primate after the repose of the late Patriarch Neophytos, whom you visited. Beside this delegation from Bulgaria, there was also a delegation from the Orthodox Church of Ukraine. And this is significant because it's the first time that we had delegations from both churches concelebrating.
Did it ever happen before?
No,
So this was a historic liturgy of
it
the
was.
Slavic churches, and Bulgaria never recognized formally, thank you, Father Atios,
Part of this visit coincided also with the reception by His All Holiness of a letter from the locum tenens of the patriarchal throne in Bulgaria, inviting His All Holiness to be present at the election and enthronement of the new Patriarch of Bulgaria, which, that's the first time also. Yeah, the Patriarch never attends enthronement services. As he says, I go to the funerals of brother primates, but I normally do not attend enthronements because it's the day of the new primate. So for me, it would be difficult to split the honor between the honoring His All Holiness and honoring the new primate. But it will happen at the end of June. Thank you.
this is great, great news. From Bulgaria, we went to Greece at the Niarchos Center, the Niarchos leadership, and this was the beginning of our relationship with Thanasi Martinos and Mr. Fokas and the Archons of the Pamakaristos. We had an informal lunch at the hotel of Mr. Fokas, where we began to discuss the ways and means to work together and discuss having this meeting that took place. Those conversations took place a few years ago. We met with His All Holiness. We gave him an update on our plans. These are the conferences we had: Brussels, Berlin, Washington. We have many resources for you to use. The Archon. If you don't have the Archon app, go to your app store now. Go ahead, open. If you have an iPhone, go to the app store. If you have an Android, go to the Android product and type in archons.org, and download the Archon app. As we close all our presentations, we offer our deep gratitude and respect to His All Holiness, the Ecumenical Patriarch, and to the hierarchs here, Metropolitan Emmanuel, Archbishop Ilpidophoros, Archbishop Nikitas, Metropolitan Theodoritos, Archbishop Metropolitan Athinagoras. Yes.
Metropolitan Arsenius could not come. Then we have Metropolitan Iacobus and Metropolitan Demetrius.
We offer our gratitude to all of you for being with us. That you may become sons of light, brother Archons. Become Christ-like, be imitators of me. Become a true protector of the future of faith. Thank you very much.